Assalamualaikum. Good day, Dr. Farah, and greetings for everyone who are watching the presentation. My name is Muhammad Alif. We are a group of 4 students, which is myself, Intan Nushafina, Nur Amalin, and Nurul Shuhaiza. Today, me and my group will be presenting our report for subject ADS514, Introduction to Public Policy. With our focus topic is on the Malaysia Progressive Wage Policy, or we can call it PWP. Let's start with introduction. For introduction, the wage stagnation and income inequality has remained to be a key challenges in the Malaysia workforce. A minimum wage increases alone have not been enough to address the issue of the rising living costs over the decades, and also the wages was not reflects on the productivity. As a response to the issue, the Madani government has introduced the progressive wage policy. It is a policy which promotes a structured wage progressions and a program that supports a skills and productivity base for the wage growth in the industry practices. Our study aims to evaluate the policy objectives, observe the implementation in the operational practices, and analyze the outcomes from the program enrollment. By doing all of that, we have prepared a compatible recommendations that's suitable with the future practices in the industries.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Intan Shafina binti Yusni, and now it's my turn to explain about the policy problem. Okay, for the progressive wage policy (PWP), the government aims to tackle stagnant wages, wage inequality, rising living costs, and also limited career progression by providing a structured national framework for wage growth. Okay, for the first policy problem is the wage stagnation and persistently low starting salaries. Okay, whereby the evidence that we got here is from the Department of Statistics Malaysia. Okay, from the slide we can see here the diagram or the statistic that we have been attached for the wage inequality among formal employees by percentile. Okay, from this statistic we can see that many workers continue to start with low wages, especially in entry level and also semi-skilled jobs. And then for the bottom 10% earn about 1,664 ringgit per month, that close to minimum wage levels. For the medium wage is 2,864 ringgit for June 2025, that showing only modest improvement. For the large wage gap remains, with the top 10% earning around 9,200 ringgit per month. Okay, so from the statistic we can conclude that the slow wage growth and unequal distribution limit income mobility and financial stability. Okay, so for the next policy problem is the persistent income inequality and wage disparities. Okay, so as we know in Malaysia, income inequality remains a serious issue in Malaysia's labour market, whereby despite overall wage growth, low income workers benefit less than high income groups. Okay, so this can lead to the wage gap continues to widen and also creating socio-economic divide. Okay, from the start 2025 reported that wage inequality in Malaysia is structural, linked to long-term reliance on low skill and also low wage labour. Okay, from the Rashid Ali series stated that wages inequality is systematic, limiting upward mobility for lower income workers. Okay, so from this evidence that we got, we can conclude that the income inequality in Malaysia remains a serious structural issue, with wage growth benefiting higher income groups more than low income workers, and also can lead to the widening socio-economic gaps. For the third policy problem is the wage increases insufficient with the rising of living costs. Okay, from this slide we can see another evidence that we have been attached from the OSM, whereby it was Malaysia's median monthly salary trend from 2022 until 2025. Okay, from this statistic, we can see that the minimum wage raised to 1,700 in 25. But many workers earning slightly above still face financial pressure. Okay, so according to Prime Minister Office 2023, Madani Economy Framework aims for wages to reach 45% of GDP, similar to high income countries. Okay, from the OSM 2025, this says that medium wages grew from 2022 until 2025, but slower than urban living costs. Okay, so periodic wage adjustment alone are insufficient. A long-term wage progression system is needed to ensure financial security. For the last policy problem is the disconnection on structured wage and productivity progression. So according to ISIS Malaysia 2024, says that Malaysia's wage did not link to skills or productivity, limiting worker incentive. And also wage increases were set by employers without clear standards and also creating unpredictability. Workers also had little motivation to upgrade skills, and employers rarely invested in training. So ISIS Malaysia also reported that inconsistent wages, slow workforce competitiveness, and long-term productivity planning. Okay, so from this we can say that without reward for skill development, Malaysia very struggles to boost productivity and also to reach a high income economy. Okay, so we can conclude also that the weak links between wages, skills, and also productivity have reduced incentive for both workers and employers, can limiting Malaysia's productivity growth. For example, a worker who gain new skills or training may receive the same pay as before, and also discouraging skill upgrading and slowing progress toward a high income economy.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Amalin binti Ruzlan. So, I will explain about policy objective for Malaysia Progressive Wage Policy (PWP), which aims to reform the wage system to so that salary growth is fair, sustainable, and linked to skills and productivity, not just minimum wage. Firstly, PWP focuses on raising wages beyond the minimum wage level. The target group is workers earning between RM1,500 to RM5,000, especially those slightly above minimum wage who are often overlooked. Previously, many workers remain stuck at the same wage for years. PWP introduces a structured wage progression so workers can see clear salary growth. This also aligns Malaysia's wage structure with international benchmark. Secondly, wage growth under PWP is linked to skills, productivity, and performance. This means employees are encouraged to continuously upskill and improve their performance. For example, employees who attend training or improve productivity can justify higher wages. This addresses the previous issue where wage increases were not linked to productivity. Okay, so for the third objective is to promote balanced income distribution by reducing the wage gap between low and high income workers. The government targets around 50,000 workers to benefit in 2025, especially to those at the lower end of the wage scale. This supports social equity and creates a more inclusive labour market. Finally, PWP incentivizes employers to adopt progressive wage practices through financial incentive, especially for SMEs. The government provides wage support to reduce employers' cost burden. This ensures a long-term adoption and avoids sudden financial pressure on companies. Next is strategy used to implement Malaysia's progressive wage policy. First, PWP implemented through voluntary and incentive-based participation. Employees are not forced to join, but they receive government incentive when they adopt structured training and wage progression. This helps reduce resistance, especially amongst SMEs. For the second, wage increases are tied to skills-based training requirements. Workers must complete training hours, which ensures that salary increments are linked to productivity and skills improvement. Third, the policy targets workers earning between RM1,500 and RM5,000, focusing on those with limited career progression and helping to reduce income inequality. Okay, finally, PWP is introduced through a pilot phase starting in 2024, followed by gradual nationwide expansion with budget allocation. This phased approach allows monitoring and improvements before full implementation.
My name is Nurul Shuhaiza binti Kamsari. Today I would like to explain about the strength policy evaluation. The implementation of the Malaysia Progressive Wage Policy (PWP) has shown significant strength, including measurable wage growth, skill development, and improved labour market inclusivity. Early evidence and ministerial reports indicate positive initial results, demonstrating its potential to address key labour market challenges. The first strength is the policy has demonstrated clear wage increases for participating workers. Around 32,000 workers have received salary increase of up to 16%. This shows that linking wages to skill and productivity can be an effective way to address wage stagnation. For many lower and middle income workers, this has meant improved financial stability and better income security. Second, the progressive wage policy has helped raise median wages and support upwards mobility. Data show the entry-level salaries increased from about 1,950 to 2,100, which to roughly a 13% increase. Importantly, PWYP participants now earn wages that exceed the national median, helping to lift earning at the lower end of the wages distribution and creating more opportunities workers to progress over time. The third strength is the policy places a strong emphasis on human capital development. Workers are encouraged to complete structured training hours or meet recognition of prior learning criteria. This promotes continuous upskilling, improve productivity, and enhance workforce competitiveness. Employees also benefit from having more capable and skilled employees which support long-term economic growth. The last point of strength of the PWP is contribute to reducing wage inequality. By raising income for lower and middle income workers, it helps narrow wage disparities and promotes a more inclusive labour market. Overall, the policy aligns well with national goals of fairness, economic balance, and sustainable development. This progressive wage policy. While the policy has delivered positive early results, several limitations need to be addressed to ensure long-term sustainability and inclusiveness. First, a major weakness is the voluntary nature of the policy. Since the participation depends on employees opting in, coverage remains limited. As a result, vulnerable workers, especially those in small firms or low-wage sector, may be excluded. This limits the policy overall impact and risks allowing wage stagnation and inequality to persist for those left out. Second weakness is there is an expectation gap between employers and workers. Employers often expect productivity improvement before implementing wage increases, while workers tend to expect immediate pay rise. This mismatch can lead to workplace tension, reduce employer participation, and create resistance to the policy. Clear communication and better alignment of expectation are therefore essential to avoid conflict and ensure smoother implementation. Third, they are concerned about sustainability and competitiveness for firms, which increases that are not matched by productivity gains can rise labor costs and weaken business competitiveness. Small and medium-sized enterprises, which often operate on thin profit margin, are particularly vulnerable. Without sufficient support such as subsidies, grant or training assistance, firms may struggle to sustain long-term wage growth. The last point is partial coverage within firms can lead unequal wage outcomes. When only certain workers benefit from the PWP, it can create wage gaps, dissatisfaction, and moral issue among employees. This highlights the trade-off between inclusiveness, effectiveness, and cost, and show the need for careful policy design moving forward. Next, I would like to present about the suggestion and recommendation to strengthen the progressive wage policy and ensure it remains effective, inclusive, and sustainable in the long run. While the PWP has shown positive early results, further improvements are needed to address gaps in coverage, compliance, training support, and SME participation. The first point is expanding coverage is critical. The voluntary nature of the PWP has limited its reach, especially among small and medium enterprises. Making the policy partially mandatory or more strongly encouraged will reduce selective adoption and help protect vulnerable workers with low wages and weak bargaining power. Wider participation will also help rise wages more evenly across sectors and reduce income inequality. Second, enforcement mechanism needs to be strengthened. Strong monitoring is necessary to prevent firms from reverting to low wages after joining the policy. Regular reviews, digital reporting system, and audits can improve compliance. Strong enforcement not only ensure policy effectiveness but also build worker trust and strengthen the credibility of the PWP. Next, greater investment in upskilling and training infrastructure is essential, which growth must be linked to real productivity improvements. Many SME face limited access to training and weak management capabilities which affect productivities. Expanding partnership with HRD Co, private institutions and industry groups can improve training access and ensure workers meet PWP requirements. This also helps employers see tangible productivity gains from wage increases. The last point is complementary support for SME is crucial. SME face higher costs and lower productivity compared to largest firms. Support such as tax incentive, grants, productivity funds, and technology assistance can ease financial pressure, help modernize operation, and encourage wider adoption of the PWP without harming competitive. Overall, this recommendation aim to strengthen policy coverage, improve compliance, support skill development, and ensure that wage growth under the PWP is both fair and sustainable.
Thanks to all my partners with all of the explanation. Now, we can conclude that the progressive wage policy thus shows a strong potential to support and improve the wage standardization in our economy. Not only that, the policy also supports the skill development in the Malaysia workforce. However, the challenges such as a limited coverage and sustainability still remain as a major hurdle in practices. By strengthening the implementation methods, expanding participation across industries, and supporting the employers' well-being set as an essential aspect to be highlighted. And by doing that, it would assure a smooth progress on our wage development, and we can confidently aim for a long-term success. With continuous improvement, the PWP can help to create a fairer wage and support towards the Malaysia Madani's economic goals. Thank you for your time. We're wishing you guys a warm regards to everyone that have been listening till the end of our presentation. Thank you.